Hey everyone, it's Heidi and welcome back to this week's episode of Baby Names Sunday. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 100 celebrity inspired baby names. So this is a huge list of names that celebrities have actually picked for their children. A lot of really fun, bold, and playful names, and some of them are very over the top, or some of them are just like, wow, why didn't I think of that? So I wanted to share this just to maybe inspire you to think outside of the box when maybe naming your kids, or maybe you're a little reserved right now and you're like, oh, I couldn't pull that off. Anybody honestly could pull off any type of name, especially when it's something that you absolutely love. But if you guys are new here, again, my name is Heidi and every single Sunday I upload baby names lists here on YouTube. Also go over to Instagram and check me out. It's at Baby Names Sunday. I'll have it right here, but I'll also have it linked down in the description. Just to give a little side note, I will be going through the names quite quickly as I am going to give you 100 names. So I will give you guys the name, and then I will also give you guys the parents' names as well who ended up naming their child these amazing names. All right, so I am going to start off with something edgy, but I love edgy names. It's one of my faves. So first name on the list here I have is Slash Electric, and this is Amber Rose and Def Jam Records Alexander Edwards' son, and this one was inspired by Guns N' Roses. Also, Guns N' Roses, Amber Rose, I see some sort of correlation there as well. Next name I have here is the name Story Gray for a little baby girl born to Derek Jeter and Hannah Jeter. And this little girl was born also in 2019, but Story has been a little bit trendy recently, and I think Story Gray, that just has such a soft sound to it. So next I have is a sibling set, and the parents are Jason Aldean and Brittany Kerr. So they had a little baby girl in 2019 and named her Navy Rome, so N-A-V-Y, Rome. So I thought it was really cool with a color name and a place name, and I love Navy for a girl. It just reminds me of like a little Southern belle name. And Navy's older brother was actually born back in 2017, and they ended up naming him Memphis. They probably went for a kind of country Southern flair to both of their names, and it really signifies Jason Aldean in general because he is a country singer. Another little baby girl that has such an impactful name is Gravity Blue. So this little baby girl was born to Stormy Bree and Lucky Blue Smith. I thought that their names in their family was just so sweet, and the meaning behind their little baby girl's name is that because gravity pulled them close together. This next one is Jenna Malone and Ethan DeLorenzo's son, and they named him Ode Mountain. Like, if you wanted an all-out nature name, this is it. It was actually back in 2016, and that's the year where a lot of change came with names. Next name is Bronx Mowgli, and this is Ashley Simpson and Pete Wentz's little baby boy that was born back in 2008. And Bronx was actually a symbolic place name for them, and Mowgli, they, I believe, were really obsessed with the Jungle Book, and that's how come his middle name ended up being that. They wanted something a little bit more playful. And then quite a few years later, Ashley Simpson married Evan Ross, and they had a little baby girl named Jagger Snow. And this is honestly one of my favorite celebrity inspired names. I love Snow as a middle name and even for a first name. And they're actually pregnant right now. So in the comments, let me know what you guys think is going to be their next baby's name, and if it's a boy or a girl. Another one that I feel like goes along with Ode Mountain, and this one's like, what, is Pilot Inspektor. It's the actor Jason Lee's son, and it was actually after a song in an indie rock band, and he was actually born back in 2003. Next name I have here is Banjo Patrick, like literally the instrument banjo. And this one is Rachel Griffiths, so it was a little baby boy again back in 2003. So I feel like 2003 was also a spunky year. Another one here that I feel like I can't go through this list without naming is Kim Kardashian West and Kanye West's little baby girl, and her name is Chicago. And honestly, As soon as they announced her name, I was floored. I think it was the coolest name ever, especially for like a place inspired name. Next name here is Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard's little baby girl's name. Born in 2014, they named her Delta. So I've actually seen this name a couple times on Instagram, but I've actually never heard, other than Kristen Bell's daughter, anyone being named this name. And I think Delta is a really fun, pretty nature name, and it could be a place name as well up here in Canada. Number 13 I have on the list here is Lula Rose. I think this is so pretty and so delicate. This is Liv Tyler and David Gardner's little daughter, and actually everyone says that my celebrity lookalike is Liv Tyler, and I always kind of laugh at it. I'm like, okay, I guess I kind of see it in the eyes, but really that's about it. Another one here is Theodora Rose. So again, Rose as a middle name here is kind of popular, and this is Robbie Williams and Ida Fields' little baby girl that was born in 2012. My next name here is actually Natalie Portman and Benjamin Milpeed, I believe is the way he pronounces, son, and they named it after the very first letter in the Arabic alphabet, I believe it is, and that's Aleph. I believe I'm pronouncing it right, A-L-E-P-H. Another little boy that was born in 2017 as well that is really unique, and that's Janet Jackson's son named Issa, spelled E-I-S-S-A, and Issa is actually a Hebrew name meaning God is my salvation. All right, so we're gonna take it back to the 90s, specifically 1994, where filmmaker Spike Lee and Tonya Lee, they had a little baby girl and they named her Satchel. And Satchel was actually named after a baseball star back in the day, Satchel Paige. Next I have is Halle Berry and Oliver Martinez's little baby boy's name, and he was born back in 2013, and his name is Maceo, M-A-C-E-O, and I thought this was very cultural, very exotic sounding. Another M name is the name Montague, nickname Monty, and this is Jerry Halliwell, so Ginger Spice, and Christian Horner's little baby boy's name. And then I have another M name here again, and that's the name Montgomery, another really poised sounding name, and this is a little baby boy born to Isla Fisher and Sacha Baron Cohen. Another celebrity here that just had a baby just back in 2019, Shay Mitchell and Matt Babel, I believe it's pronounced, and they named their little girl Atlas Noah, and Noah is spelled N-O-A. Now we're switching it really up here. This one is another really funky name, and this is Cardi B and Offset's little girl's name, and her name is Culture Kiari, and Culture is spelled with a K. Both of them are KK. I feel like this suits his dad so well. This is Tyga and Black China's little baby boy, and they named him King Cairo. Very powerful place name, but with that king association, that royalty for him as well. Another name here that I couldn't go through the list without mentioning is Beyonce and Jay-Z's little girl's name. Firstborn is Blue Ivy, and this one just absolutely was a head turner as soon as she was born. This next one here is quite girly, and that's how come I added it. I thought it was really fun because it's actually 3 names put together. It's David Henry and Maria Hill Henry's little girl's name, and that's Pia Philomena Francesca. Now for a very modern name, this is Future and Sierra's boy's name, and his name is Future, just like his dad's stage name. And this one is a really great, unique virtue name for a little boy. This is a total country sounding name. This is Toby Maguire and Jennifer Meyer's little girl's name, and it's Ruby Sweetheart. I am loving Sweetheart for a middle name. I think it adds that elegance, daintiness, and just that feminine touch to the name. Next is Chris Brown and Nia Guzman's daughter's name. This is Royalty, another really cool virtue, but more of that royal sounding virtue name. Another name here is California Dream, and this is the Game and Tiffany Cambridge's daughter. Wow, you have an amazing name. The next 2 names here is actually a sibling set. It's Mariah Carey and Nick Cannon's daughter and son. They named their son Moroccan Scot. loving Moroccan for a little baby boy. And then for their girl, they named her Monroe. So Moroccan and Monroe, like how well do those go together? Next one here is Jessica Simpson, an NFL player Eric Johnson's little boy's name. I love the middle name for this one. So this is Ace Newt, and Newt is spelled K-N-U-T-E. Number 32 on the list here. This one's actually one of my favorites. It's Pharrell and Helen Lesachan, I believe her last name is. Their son's name is Rocket Ayer, spelled A-Y-E-R. Moving on to Alicia Keys and Swizz Beatz. I love these two. So there's a boy and a girl here. We have Egypt for a boy. Love. This kind of goes along with Morocco and Monroe. And then for a girl, they have Genesis. Another celebrity here I have is P. Diddy and Kim Porter's daughter's name, and this is Delilah Starr. And Delilah is spelled D-L-I-L-A. Delilah Starr. Another one that made me go wow is Lil Kim and Jeremy Neal's baby girl, and they named her Royal Rain. I love the flow of this one, and Royal is one of my favorites on my list. American Ferrera and Ryan Pierce had a little baby girl. They picked something a little bit more cultural but very vintage, and that's Lucia Marisol. Very, very pretty, very elegant. Next name here is actually quite recent. So DJ Diplo and Javon King had a little baby boy, and they named him Pace, spelled P-A-C-E. Another little boy that was born quite recently is Jenna Dewan and Stevie Casey's little son, and they named him Callum Michael Rebel. And I feel Michael is probably a family name, but I am loving Callum, very unique, and Rebel adds that edginess to it. This next one I am so happy for. It was quite a few months back, but Cameron Diaz and Benji Madden had a little baby girl, and it was actually their very firstborn, and they named her Radix. R-A-D-D-I-X. Loving that one so much as well. Next parents here is Lucky Mecklenburg and Ryan Thomas. They had a little boy and named him Roman Ravello. So this is again RR, and I love the O ending names right now. Now this one's a girl with the same middle name, Ravello, and this is Woody Harrelson and Laura Louie's little girl's name, and it's Makani Ravello. Makani is beyond gorgeous, spelled M-A-K-A-N-I. We're moving on to something edgy for a little girl, and this is Ronan and Storm Keating's daughter's name, and obviously with Ronan and Storm being the parents' name, I'm only looking for something edgy, and her name is Coco Knox. I think this is probably one of my favorites next to Rocket Ayer. Another cultural one I have here is Mario and Courtney Lopez's son's name, and that's the name Santino, spelled S-A-N-T-I-N-O. Again with those O ending names. I have this one here because I believe that this is one of the prettiest girls' name especially, and it's Kobe Bryant and Vanessa Bryant's little daughter's name, very recently born, not too long ago. R.I.P. Kobe. It is Capri. I think it's so pretty, so delicate, and it is like a place-inspired name as well. Moving on to Kat Von D and Raphael Rye's little edgy son's name. It's Leafar, L-E-A-F-A-R, Sayer. Leafar Sayer. I think this is so cool. It has those nature ties, but it has that edge to it that I feel Kat Von D would, you know, incorporate in her child's name. Next I have is Kristen Dunst and Jesse Plemons, I believe his last name is, and that's the name Ennis, spelled E-N-N-I-S. So it's almost like those, you know, vintage names, Dennis, and just remove the D, Ennis. I have seen this I think one other time, but I feel like it's quite handsome, and seeing it now I'm like, this really could work. This one is an oldie but a goodie. Nicolas Cage and Alice Kim's son went with a Superman inspired name, Kal-El, for their son, K-A-L-E-L. We actually thought of this, and Davian actually thought of this for a son's name when Zyla was born, and I was like, maybe. But I really like it now. Next celebrity couple I have is Gavin Rossdale and Gwen Stefani. I actually have all three of their kids here because I'm in love. It's Apollo Bowie Flynn. There's also Kingston James. And then for the last final one is Zuma Nesta Rock. Gwen Stefani, Gavin Rossdale, if you ever watch this, I'm in love with your kids' names. I think you picked such amazing ones. Next two here are siblings. It's Mark Silverstein and Busy Phillips' daughters' names. One of them is Cricket Pearl, which is very vintage, which I am loving, and it totally matches her vintage sister's name as well, which is Birdie Leigh. Now onto an animal-inspired name. This is Christopher Jericho and Alicia Silverstone's son's name, and they chose Bear Blue. Blue as a middle name, I feel like it adds the softness to the name. Onto a sibling set that sounds very, very royal, and this is JP and Ashley Herbert Rosenbun. I always have trouble pronouncing her last name. So I have Essex Rhys for their little girl, nickname Essie, and then their son's name is Fordham Rhys. Rhys again, but it's spelt a little differently, and they nickname him Ford, or Fordy as well. So you have Essie and Fordy. Another double initial name. This one is 2 E's. It's Robert Downey Jr. and Susan Downey's son's name, and they named him Exton Elias. Spelled E-X-T-O-N and then Elias. Next one here is Zyla Moon, spelled Z-Y-L-A Moon, very celestial. And the parents of Zyla are Wale Jourdain and Claudia Alexis Jourdain. I really hope I'm pronouncing their last name right. This one here has actually gradually moved from a surname to a first name quite recently. And this is Matt Bellamy and Kate Hudson's son's name, and they named him Bingham, nickname Bing, spelled B-I-N-G-H-A-M. Next 4 names here are Jamie Oliver and Juliet Norton's children's names, because they have just some of the fun, cutesy, and cheerful names that you are looking for if you are thinking bold. We have Poppy Honey Rosie, we have Daisy Boo Pamela, we have Buddy Bear for their little baby boy, and then there is Petal Blossom Rainbow. They honestly went all out for their names, and honestly, I can't blame them. Like, they went for fun and they didn't care who was looking. I have another place-inspired name here. The parents are Jim Toth and Reese Witherspoon, and they named their son Tennessee. And this goes along with the Memphis, Phoenix, Tennessee. Like, that is definitely a more uncommon state name that is definitely very unheard of and not used as frequently, but it's so usable again. Next I have is Jacob Pachenik and Zoe Deschanel's quirky, cute little daughter's name, and her name is Elsie Otter. Otter, O-T-T-E-R. Otter totally goes along with Zoe Deschanel and that quirky girl she is. Next couple here is Teresa Palmer and Mark Webber's son's name, very nature inspired, and that's the name Forest Sage for their little son. This one I feel like would be very trendy, and it's a really great nature combo. I have here next Kelly Clarkson's daughter's name, and this is just perfect for if you're wanting River as a first name. She chose a River Rose for her daughter. So River for a girl, I feel like again is a very up and trendy name. That's a boy's name, but more so been going into a girl's name as well. Another futuristic name that was chosen here by magician Penn Jillette and wife Emily Jillette. They pick Zoltan Penn. So Penn is obviously by dad's name, but Zoltan, very, very modern and definitely very futuristic sounding with the Z. Never heard of that name before. All right, let's switch it back over to the girl side. Brian Adams here and Alicia Grimaldi, they chose for their little girl another animal-inspired name. This one's Mirabella Bunny as the middle name, and that one is super cutesy, and I feel like that's the vibe they were going for. For number 71 here, it's actually a baby boy that was born quite recently, and it's actually One Direction's Louis Tomlinson and Brianna Jugworth's son's name, firstborn, and they named him Freddie Raine, and Raine is spelled R-E-I-G-N. This next one here, I am loving the first name. It's Bobby Cannavale and Rose Burns' son's name, and they named him Rocco Robin. So again, with that animal inspiration for the middle, I still love Rocco, and it has those double R's, RR, Rocco Robin. For number 73, I have a really pretty, almost Italian inspired name here. It's Mark Ruffalo and Sunrise Coigny, I feel like her last name is, and they named their daughter Bella Noche, and Noche is N-O-C-H-E. And then for Bella's brother's name, they chose Keen for the little baby boy, K-E-E-N, and I love how simplistic that one is. Next I have is Leighton Meester and Adam Brody's daughter's name. It was their firstborn, and this one was actually born quite recently, and her name is Arlo Day. A-R-L-O. I never thought of Arlo for a little girl, but up until now, this stole my heart. Next one here is Victoria and David Beckham's daughter's name, and they chose Harper Seven. And Seven's actually been quite a popular name for both first and middle name as one of those number names. Now moving on to a very girly name here. This one's Rochelle and Marvin Hums, which is an English singer. They named their daughter Valentina Raine, and Raine is spelled R-A-I-N-E. I have a bachelor baby name next. So this is Ari from The Bachelor and Lauren Burnham's little baby girl's name, their very firstborn. They named her Alessi Wren, spelled A-L-E-S-S-I and then Wren. Really unique, very pretty, and I love this unisex middle name of Wren. And then speaking of unisex names, these next two ones are totally unisex. So this one was actually given to a boy, and that's the name Rise Harlan, R-I-S-E-H-A-R-L-E-N, Rise Harlan. And Jacqueline McInnes Woods and Elan Ruspoli, I hope I pronounced that right, they gave it to their son. Loving this one for either or. And then my next one here was given to a girl, but this one can totally go for either gender, and that's Poet Lake. P-O-E-T and then Lake, and that one was given by Teresa Palmer and Mark Weber to their little baby girl. Next one here is Benjamin Hollingsworth and Nyla Hollingsworth, their son's name. I love this as a surname for a first name for a boy. Hemingway Nash, spelled H-E-M-I-N-G-W-A-Y. Now onto another edgy name here. This one was given by Addison Timlin and Jeremy Allen White to their little boy, and they named him Ezer Billy, E-Z-E-R. Edgy, edgy, edgy. Another one that I found just so, oh my word, I find this one just so handsome. This one was given by Coco Rocha and James Conran, and they gave their little boy the name Ivor Ames, and Ames is spelled E-A-M-E-S. Next I have Lee Bryce and Sarah Reevely. They gave their little girl Trulee Nanette, and Trulee is spelled T-R-U-L-E-E, and then Nanette. A little bit of a French option there. This one here, I feel like a lot of you guys are going to love for a little girl's name that's a little bit more edgier. This one was given by James and Heidi Durbin, and they named their little baby girl Kinsey Cruz, and Kinsey is spelled K-I-N-Z-E-E. Another one here, now for the boys' side, Stephanie Davis and Jerry McConnell named their son this name, and it's Caben-Albi George, and Caben-Albi is actually a hyphenated name. I am really liking Caben as like an alternative to like Kaysen and those sorts of names, and Albi has always been a really sweet spot for a little boy's name. Next one is definitely out there for a little girl, but it just reminds me of the sky and very dreamy celestial, and this one was given by Holly Madison and Pascal Rotella, and they named their little girl Rainbow Aurora. How phenomenal is that? It's so dreamy. Next here I have Ashley Williams and Neil Dodson's son's name, and they named him a simple cutesy little name, Ode Sal. I love how short, sweet, and cute. Ode has always been a really cute name for me for a boy. Another really pretty but very exotic sounding name was given by Matt Damon and Luciana for their daughter. They named her Stella Zavala, and it's Z-A-V-A-L-A for that middle name. Very, very pretty, unheard of. I've never heard of it before, and I love names that start with the Z. This next one here, I find it goes so well with Rainbow Aurora. Like, I feel like this should be the brother's name. So this is Jack Huston and Shannon Click's son's name, and they named him Cypress Night. Rainbow Aurora, Cypress Night. This works. So we're gonna go back to 1991 where Bruce Willis and Demi Moore had a little baby girl. They named her Scout LaRue, and LaRue is L-A-R-U-E. Next one here is a sibling set combo for boy and for a girl. This one is Jensen Ackles and Danielle Harris's boy and girl twins. So they named their little boy Zeppelin Bram. Very, very edgy, definitely trendy. And then Zeppelin Bram's twin sister, they gave her the name Arrow Rhodes. Moving on to a boy's name, next I have is Tiffany Amber Thiessen and Brady Smith's son's name. They picked something bold. They picked Holt Fisher. Next one here, very trendy. It's Soleil Moon Fry. Love her name. And her husband, Jason Goldberg. Their son's name is Lyric Sony Rhodes. I love Lyric. I've more so seen it as a girl's name, but for a boy's name, super, super cool. Now down to our last 5 on the list here. Next is Alanis Morissette and Mario Treadway's son's name. They chose Ever Imrie, E-V-E-R, and then I-M-R-E. Another one here that I can't go through the list without. This one's Nicole Richie and Joel Madden's son's name, and they chose Sparrow James Midnight for him. I think this just totally matches them so well. Next one here is Casey Affleck and Summer Phoenix. I love that name, Summer Phoenix. They chose for their little girl Indiana August. So dreamy, Indiana August, Summer Phoenix. I feel like mom and daughter go so well together. And then the last 2 names here is Erykah Badu and Timothy Tedford's little baby girl. They named her Mars Merkaba, M-E-R-K-A-B-A. I feel like that might be a family name, and Mars for a little girl. Very, very celestial, space inspired. And then last name on the list here is Tony Braxton and Carrie Lewis's son. They named him Diesel Kai, and Diesel is D-E-I-Z-E-L, and then Kai is K-Y. And I thought, again, very edgy, modern, and just with the whole list here, you have vintage, modern, bold, playful. It just goes to show how different and where you can really go with baby names and naming your children. I mean, really just go with your gut, have fun, and make it something memorable to both you and your partner. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this list and enjoyed all the possibilities, and hopefully this gave some inspiration. Let me know in the comments below though what your favorite celebrity inspired baby names might be, the parent's name or the actual baby's name. Any ones that I missed, leave them also in the comments below. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next Sunday with another baby names list. Take care and stay safe. Bye!